Hello.
Your face. You got your face. How you doing? Good to see you.
Doing?
We have similar backdrops. You just have way more books.
I got a lot of books, no doubt about that. How you doing, Brooklyn? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. How are you feeling?
I'm good. Yeah. So we're going to talk history, are we?
She has her questions there too, but she's a great conversationalist. So you guys can just have a good conversation together. That's good. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you be.
So do you want me to start with the first one?
Sure, go ahead.
What was the first building ever built?
First building. Wow. Well, I would say probably the first house was the Joseph Hill house. It originally was built where the Cache restaurant is located beside Ferry Lake. It still exists. They moved it over to the corner of Eagle Street and Church Street. It's on the south side of the street. Looks different now, but it's the oldest house in Newmarket.
Well, that's a nice place to put it.
Well, they had to put it someplace. They wanted to move it away from Ferry Lake. But probably the oldest building, or one of the oldest buildings, would be the Quaker Meeting House, which is on Yonge Street. But I think probably the Hill House is older. Hill House was built about 1801.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Who is the first mayor?
First mayor. Well, first mayor's name was William Kane. He owned a woodworking shop or building here in Newmarket, and he was the first mayor, William Kane.
Hmm. Who were the first people that lived here?
The indigenous people were the first people that lived here, the Indians. But in 1799, my relatives came with a group of Quakers, and they moved on to Yonge Street.
Really? Oh, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
I feel sorry for the indigenous kids.
Yeah, no, it's a horrible, horrible story. You know, we've done horrible things to them.
Who is the founder of Newmarket?
Well, many people would probably say that Timothy Rogers was the founder, although they'd be wrong. But a lot of people would say Timothy Rogers. Timothy Rogers was a man who found land for people who wanted to move from the United States to Canada to escape, I guess you'd say, the fact that they were Quakers and they didn't have freedom. But the first people here in Newmarket, first white people in Newmarket, was probably Joseph Hill. And as I say, he built a house on the corner or where Cache restaurant is, and he built a mill to grind grains into flour.
Wow, that's incredible.
Long time ago.
Who created electricity?
Just generally, who created electricity? Well, the person who discovered it was Benjamin Franklin. At least this is the person who's credited with discovering it. I would say probably God created electricity, but Benjamin Franklin discovered it, or captured it, I guess you'd say, to make it commercial.
Now, how did they figure out how to like create houses and how to keep the wood from like popping up and like the roofs to stay stable and never fall down?
How do they build a house where it doesn't fall down? Well, when they first started building houses, they didn't use nails. So what they would do is they would build grooves in the wood. And so it would put together like a jigsaw puzzle. So, you would have one long section and a section that had a groove in it. It would go together like that to hold it together. Good example of that is the Sharon Temple in Sharon. If you go there, you'll see a building that has been up, I guess, for a couple of 100 years, and it's no nails in it. It's all tongue and groove.
100 years?
Yeah,
That's a long
it's a
time.
long time. Yeah, and there's no nails in it. It's all wood fitted into wood.
Did you ever get to experience something amazing back then?
Back in the 1800s, well, I'm not quite that old, but if I ever experienced something amazing, well, I think probably getting involved with history. I find history amazing. I think that every day is new. Every day you learn something new. You get to talk to people about history. A lot of people are interested in history, so you always can make new friends and learn new stuff. So I say that's probably the most amazing thing for me.
What inspired you to learn about Newmarket history?
What inspired me? Well, my grandfather and my uncles were involved in history. So I guess growing up, when I was a little boy, I was surrounded by the stories of Newmarket, and I got interested, and they encouraged me to participate. So I guess that's how I really got started. I took history in my undergraduate degree at university, and I didn't use it because I then went on to do a business degree, but I enjoyed my 4 years of taking history when I was in university.
Wow.
What do you want to do? You want to get into history? What do you want to be when you grow up?
I don't know. There's a lot of jobs out there.
Yes, there are a lot of jobs.
So I don't know what I want to be.
You don't know.
Yeah.
You want to be like your mother? Do you want to be a politician?
Well, that may be too much work, and I don't want
I
to.
think so. Yeah. It's too much pressure. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
Where do you work?
Well, I used to have my own business. I guess in a sense, I still have my own business. I get to do what we're doing today. I still have clients that contact me, and I help them to get over problems with their businesses or to grow their businesses. So, I still do that, but not many. But I lived all over the world. I was lucky. I would sign contracts to go and live in various parts of the world and help the people build their companies. That was kind of exciting.
So you got to explore the world?
Yeah, I lived all over the world. Yeah.
Wow. What was your favorite place to go?
My favorite place to go. Well, I enjoyed living in Brazil. I liked the weather. It was nice there. I liked living in Europe. It was fun. Switzerland was particularly nice because I like history. I liked living in England. I liked living in Italy. Places that had an old culture. The Middle East was nice. Yeah.
So, how did they find out how to create paper?
Well, the Babylonians were the people who invented paper. How did they learn to do it? Well, according to the books that I've read, what they discovered was that the fibers that from wood, when dried, would dry nice and hard, and so over hundreds of years they experimented, and they discovered that if you took like a log or a piece of wood or even reeds, and you made them wet, then you were able to grind them up into kind of like a pulp, like a paste, and then they would take that paste and they would put it on a flat surface and allow it to dry. So that's
paper's made?
That's how paper is made. Yeah, that's how they make paper. still do that today. They all come from wood.
Wow. But there's different kinds of paper, right?
Yeah, depending on what kind of paper you want, they do a different process to, if you want fine paper, then they put bleaches in and whatever to make it nice and white. But if you just want drawing paper, they don't have to do very much with that. But yeah, it all comes from wood.
Wow. Most of it?
All of it. I don't think they make paper from anything else other than wood or wood products. Yeah, that's so. Every time you throw out a newspaper, somebody cut down a tree to make that newspaper, and then if you throw it away, then it's gone. What's happening now, of course, is that with paper, they're working on how they can reuse it, how they can reconstitute it. So what they do is they put in different types of chemicals and they break it back down into the paste, and then they make paper again. If you buy paper, you can buy paper, at Staples or whatever, and it says that it's reused. So they've taken the paper and they've broken it down and they've made a new type of paper.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite book about history?
My favorite book about history. Well, I think the first book that I read that was about our local history is a book by a lady named Truella. That's her last name. She wrote it in 1953. It's a green book, very famous book on Newmarket history. It's really good because what she did to write the book, she did interviews with people who are really old and got their stories. So it's a pretty good book. To this day, when I write my articles or I do my presentations or I do my historical walks, I use that book because it's the best book out there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how did they make movies?
How do they make movies?
Yeah, because I heard that movies went on to just they're moving to movies now.
Well, from what I remember of the story of the making movies, first step was to discover how to capture an image. What they did was they used to put the image on a piece of glass. It wasn't on paper, it was on a piece of glass. So the original pictures were all on glass. What they discovered was that if you took several pictures of the same subject, and then you were to move the pictures from side to side, it would make it look like the people were moving in the pictures. So that's, I guess, really how the first movies started. Eventually what they did was, and you're probably too young to remember this, but eventually what they did after glass was that they used to put them on a kind of a plastic and capture it that way. Now, of course, it's all digital. Now it's all computerized. So same thing. When I do movies, when I film movies for my presentations, I do it all through my iPhone, and then I just download it to the computer, and there's software that allows me to turn them into a movie.
Really?
Yeah, you should try that. You can take it. You can film on your iPad or on your iPhone, and then you download that to the computer, and then there's software that you can use to put music on it. Yeah, you can make your own movies.
That's so cool.
Yeah, you should get your mom to show you. Your mom's good at this. Sure, I was in a couple of your mom's movies, and yeah, she's really good at it.
Yeah, she is. She loves making videos.
Oh, I know. She's a natural star.
So what was the first electronic ever built?
First electronics.
Yeah.
Boy, let me just think. What would be the first electronics? Probably the light. I would think electrical light would be one of the first things.
Electrical light?
I'm sorry?
Electrical light?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think what would be the first, like the first machines were usually like printing presses were very early machines. Farm machines, to cut the wheat and turn them into bales. These are some of the first machines that there were. Your question implies that there has to be electricity, and electricity is fairly new. It's not, it's been around for about maybe 160 years, which is fairly recent in history. Before that, there's no electricity, so there were no machines really.
So like back in the day, and how they didn't have they didn't know about like bricks and stuff. How did the old houses used to look?
Well, what they used to do, well, originally they built the houses out of mud and grass. And
Really?
yeah, this is how the indigenous people built theirs, and the skins of animals. They used the skins of animals to build their teepees. Then from there, they made them out of wood, and it was just really in Newmarket. It was very late that they decided to use bricks, but they used to make bricks here. They used to make bricks over on, there's a place on Prospect Street. I think they are a pub, but they used to be a fish and chip place. Well, right there used to be a company that made bricks. So a lot of the bricks that you see in the buildings here in Newmarket were made right there on that premises, and they're mostly yellow. So you can always tell if it's a brick that was made in Newmarket because it's yellow. It's always yellow.
Always?
Yeah, that's for some reason that's the color brick that they made here.
That reminds me of a story. So my teacher, her name is Bonnie. She is my teacher. In her neighborhood, she was back way then, and you had to listen for your Pacific ringtone. And what Bonnie would do is she would pick up the phone and she would listen to other people's conversations.
Yeah, when I was a kid, what happened was that there'd be 3 or 4 families on the same line, and if it was for you, it would be, you knew what kind of ringtone there was for you. But yeah, a lot of people, what they used to do is when they got bored, they pick up the phone and listen to other people having conversations. Not a very nice thing to do, but it's funny.
And the people would say, Bonnie, we could hear you breathing.
Yeah.
It was funny.
Yeah, you have to be very careful, and you have to make sure nobody made any noise in your house so that nobody could hear that you were on the line.
That would be really funny.
Yeah, no privacy though. Can you imagine not having any privacy? That would be horrible.
Yeah. I would be really scared to talk to my friends.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to say anything that you didn't want your mom and dad to know about.
Oh no. That would not be good.
No.
So like, how did people come up with like cameras and stuff?
Well, as they say, what happened was the original cameras were great, big, huge things. They were about 6 feet high. And what you did was you pushed in a piece of glass, which was treated with chemicals. And when it was exposed to light, it made an image of whatever it saw through the little hole of the camera. So as I say, the original cameras used glass film. That was initially, and that was really in the late 1850s, early 1860s. And then eventually they invented ordinary film. And of course, now we have digital cameras, so we don't need film at all.
Who created art? Like, what was the first picture ever created?
First picture ever created. Wow, that's a hard question. Well, people now, are finding pictures in caves that were done by cave people, by the first humans. So I think humans have always produced pictures. They were fairly crude, but and generally they did pictures of animals. They would do pictures of, of elephants and horses and things like that. But if you want to see them, you can.
My mom has a picture of a horse right here. She calls it a freedom, I think.
Mhm.
And it's right beside me.
I see. Your mother collects horse pictures, does she?
I don't know. She created her own picture.
Oh, so she's an artist? Does your mother draw?
No, but like she took a bunch of pictures and glued it onto a huge canvas
Oh, okay.
for
I
a
think that's called
magazine.
a collage, I think is what they call that. Yeah. Nice. Very talented.
Mhm. And at the school I go to, every, I don't know, maybe Thursday, art class. And I'm going to skating and horseback riding now.
Oh, really? Well, that should be fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really fun.
Yeah. I rode a horse when I was little, but I haven't done it for a long, long time.
Mm. My sister Alyssa, she's scared of horses.
Yeah, a lot of people are. Yeah. Particularly if
I
you're
don't know
falling off the
why.
horse. Yeah.
I love horses. They're so cute.
Yeah. Yeah. But they got a mind of their own. You got to be careful. You got to make sure that the horse understands what you want it to do.
Yeah. My horseback riding teacher Jen, she makes so like if the horses like are like a little bit, I don't know, like wild a bit, she makes sure that they're not school horses. I usually ride a Pacific horse. His name is Hudson. He's really, really, really gentle.
Mm. And where do you ride horses? Where do you go to ride?
It's a place called Ovation Hall.
And it's in the Newmarket area?
Yeah, it's 5 minutes away from my house.
Wow, that's cool.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, at one time, Newmarket was completely surrounded by farms. So when I was, I guess your age, 2 or 3 minutes and you'd be on a farm riding around. It was pretty good.
Growing up on a farm would have been amazing.
Yeah. Well, the area where you live used to be all farmland when I was a boy.
Wow. Did you get to grow any like tomatoes and?
That's right. Well, you can still do that now. You can still plant a garden, but these people had huge gardens.
Yeah, huge, I bet.
Yeah. But I don't think they made much money. I think that was the problem. Make much more money selling your land to developers.
How did they like create the pyramid?
How did they create the pyramid?
Yeah.
Well, the pyramid was discovered by the Greeks, and what it is it's a mathematical instrument. Basically, what they did was they noticed that in nature tends to create natural pyramids. So, a guy named Pythagoras created the first real pyramid to demonstrate the mathematical theory of the pyramid. But pyramid is found in nature. If you take a look, particularly rocks, if you take a rock and if it's got crystals and you crack the crystal, you'll see that the crystal will crack in the form of a pyramid.
Really?
Yeah, it's a natural occurring shape.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So what was the first shop that ever opened?
First shop, you mean a Newmarket?
Yes.
Probably, I would say there was a fur traders post at the corner. It was on the northeast corner, across the road from Cachet Restaurant. There used to be a fur traders shop there. That was one of the first shops in Newmarket. That would have been, probably around 1805, 1806. They traded with the indigenous people for furs. So they bought furs and they gave the indigenous people whiskey and guns and things like that.
Back then, once like they didn't have traffic lights, did they like have like someone doing?
Well, you know, before we had traffic lights, there used to be a policeman that stood there and sort of motioned people.
Must have been really dangerous.
Oh yeah, yeah. But there was very little traffic. Even when I was a boy, there wasn't nearly as much traffic as there is now. When you figure now there's what, nearly 100,000 people in Newmarket. When I was a boy in the late 1950s and early 1960s, there's only probably about 8,000 people here. So a lot smaller.
8,000?
Yeah.
That is a whole lot of people.
No, it's 100,000 now.
That is a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we're getting too big. At least in my opinion, we're getting too big.
I agree.
Oh, don't hear your mother. Let your mother hear that. She bigger the better.
She's growing in office, which she's growing like a tree because it wasn't doing so well. Its name is 525, and she has it standing on a plate. Like it has like a little pot, but the pot is placed on a plate on this little table.
Okay, and she's going to plant that outside?
Yeah, once it gets better.
I see. What kind of tree is it?
I don't know.
Is it a fir tree? Is it coniferous or is it deciduous?
Money tree.
A money tree?
A money tree.
Yeah, I should have known it'd be a money tree.
You've done a good job, Richard. You were in the hot seat there.
Uh-huh. Oh, we've talked about a wide range of questions here.
I know. She was just.
She was thinking I was around with the Egyptians, so I must be looking at her than I thought.
I like history.
She shooed me away.
Did she?
I like history.
I came here and she's like,
I see.
not your business, Mom. Not your business.
I see.
I like history.
Yeah, you do. It's great. It's wonderful. Well, Mr. McLeod will be so thrilled that you love history and enjoy answering.
We got a lot of books.
Yeah, this is nothing. I've got the whole room is full of books. I've got about 20 filing cabinets full of information. I got a lot of stuff.
Wow.
I've been saving it for a long time. Yeah, and lots of painting. I collect paintings in Newmarket. Yeah.
Back in our old house, because we just moved into a new house.
Lucky you.
Back in Mom's old office, she had a whole wall that she could draw chalk on, and she gave me the bottom. So,
Wow.
like, she could have the top, and I could have the bottom. We made a line.
I see. But you don't have that now.
No, sadly.
No. Well, sounds like the old house was more fun.
Yep, and it had a pool and a fireplace and a hot tub.
Wow. Why did you move?
Because they think it's too big.
Oh, they did. Oh, I see. I see. Yeah, it's always they. I noticed that when I was a kid. It was always them came up with these ideas. Yeah.
It was a wonderful house.
Was it in the same area?
No, it was on Lockwood.
Oh,
Yeah, just different street.
oh well.
We're in Best Circle now.
Ah, I see.
What's the history of Best Circle, Mr. McLeod, Brooklyn?
Of that particular street? I'd have to look
Best,
that up.
Best Circle though, isn't Best Circle? I mean, not Best Circle, but Best. It was
Well, Charlie Best was or Charles Best, I guess, owned a good portion of Newmarket at one time. He was a druggist, but his real business was that he bought real estate. So at one time he owned probably half of Main Street.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting, Brooklyn?
Very.
This street was named after. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, what do you say? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for letting me learn about the
No
history.
problem. Yeah, I'm glad you stay interested in history. It's a good thing. It'll keep you out of trouble. Keep me out of trouble, but probably it'll keep you out of trouble.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you, when I do my walking tours, we give people a History Hound hat. So maybe if you're interested, you'll be the only person at school that has a History Hound hat. But yeah, I don't know if I've got one down here or not to show you. I'll be right back. I'll show you one.
Cool. That's this elephant.
No, from China.
And an elephant. Papers.
Yeah, so when we do our walking tours, this is what we give everybody. It's a History Hound hat.
Wow, that looks sweet.
Yeah, they're cool. Yeah, they come in different colors. I don't know what colors I have left, but yeah, so everybody gets one of those on the walking tour. So
Probably come in red.
yeah, I don't know if we got red or not. I'll have to take a look. I know we had blue, and this is kind of a black color. I think it's black. Yeah. So did your mom ask you if you wanted to go on the ghost walk with us?
Yeah. When is it again, Richard?
It's going to be on the 29th. That's when we have space, the 29th of October.
Want to go on that?
Yeah.
20th of October. And what time is that?
It starts at 7 o'clock. You have to be there at 6:45.
Okay.
Lasts about an hour and 15 minutes, I guess.
Okay.
It's not scary at all, as I say. What it is we take a look at all of the buildings that they say are supposed to have ghosts in it, but we don't see any ghosts. And doing this, I don't think I've been doing it for about 20 years now. I don't think I've ever seen a ghost, but they probably ghosts like me. But it's fun, and there's lots. What's really fun is the people that go on it. They tell you their stories and stuff. And it's kind of fun. It's generally between 20 and 30 people, and the money goes to charity, which is the best part of the whole thing.
That is so great. And so how do we donate to that? Just you have a
They'll when you arrive, they will charge you $15 a person.
okay.
Nice and cheap.
Where we arrive to.
And what it starts in front of the George Hotel or the King George Hotel.
Okay.
So if you're interested, by all means come. As I say, it's fun. As I say, it's walking for about an hour and 15 minutes. Maybe a little bit less than that.
And it starts at what time? At 7 o'clock.
You need to be there at 6:45
Quarter to
7 in the evening.
Okay. 6:45. Okay. Perfect. That'll be fun, Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll be there.
Okay, so hope you feel better, Brooklyn, and we'll
Thank you.
talk to you another time.
I hope I do too.
Okay, you take care.
Yeah.
Thanks, Richard.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.